good morning or good afternoon or good evening, everyone, depending on which part of the world you are. Welcome to the third SGL Live. We are very happy to welcome you again after two first successful and interesting sessions. We hope to have another interesting session for you waiting. Today, we have again a nice panel of people attending. First of all, I'd like to introduce Mr. Afonso Meireles. Hello, Afonso.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for
Thanks.
joining us from Portugal, head groundsman of Sporting Club Portugal. So it's an honor to have you here, and we are happy that you are sharing your insights with us today. And
thanks a lot for the invitation, Frank, and
no
SGL,
worries,
of course.
no worries, Afonso. And then we have Mr. Gary Lee. Gary, how are you?
I'm very well, Frank. How are you?
Very good, very good. Thank you. Gary, it's an honor to have you in on this session as well. Head groundsman at Tottenham Hotspur in a small stadium in the north of London, if I'm correct.
The best stadium in North London.
I'm not here to judge, Gary. Great to have you here on this third session, and I hope we can make this an interesting one. With the help of Mr. Tom Graffin. Welcome, Tom.
Afternoon. Good to be back.
Happy to have you back after joining us for the first session, together with Mr. Xavi Tordera.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Rising star of the second session, Xavi. It's nice to have you back as well, and we hope that today you will share some nice insights with us as well.
Pleasure's
If we
mine.
have a look at the program for today, we've got an hour packed of content and hopefully some entertainment as well. We will start again with a social update. What's been going on social media lately in the industry. Then Mr. Xavi Tordera, he presented about the UVC last time. This time he will give us some background on the TC50. And we also continue after that with a this or that with Gary Lee, which I will get to later. And that's followed by a discussion on TC50 and turfgrass stress. Both gentlemen are experts on this topic, as well as Tom and Xavi. So I think that will be quite interesting, both from their own perspective and their own situations in their stadium. So I think that can be very interesting. Then we follow with a this or that with Afonso, a short session, and then we continue with another turfgrass stress management discussion, but then based on the question, how is it different with the extended season? Everyone has to deal with the COVID-19 situation, and many of you have an extended season. How is that affecting the situation for your turf grass stress? And then finally, we will give you a behind the screens of a pitch visit somewhere in Europe at one of our customers, and then we wrap up with a summary. So that's today's agenda. Well, 60 busy minutes, but I hope you will enjoy it. Okay, so what's happened? We've looked around and we noticed that Mr. Carl Stanley talking about an extended season, where normally his finals run from March to around May. He's now still well in his final season, with the FA Cup semi-final coming up, lots of league finals. So good luck to Carl over there at Wembley Stadium. The pitch looks immaculate. Great to see that. And this is a personal favorite of mine, Mr. Keith Kent. Served Man United as a head groundsman for many years, and then went on to Twickenham for many, many years, looking after growing the grass at the home of rugby. He's now not doing that anymore. Jim Butter has taken over that role, but Keith, so to see, is now focusing on growing hair, and he's doing a great job. But it's good to see that Keith also finally managed to get his own lawn cut. So that's great. Looking fantastic, Keith. And then also a nice one. We've mentioned it before. In the Netherlands, we see a lot of stadiums moving back from artificial grass to natural grass. So that's a very good movement. I think you will all agree. But we've seen already a few weeks ago that in The Hague, they had just seeded the pitch, and now we see that there is a lush green carpet already. The circumstances have been excellent. So over there, I think they will have a very nice start of the league next year on natural grass. And here's another photo of grass for your timeline. Here you have it. Good. Mr. Burgess, head groundsman or director of grounds at Real Madrid Football Club, the newly crowned champion of La Liga. Sorry, Xavi.
Sometimes it happens, Frank.
That happens, yeah. That they've not won the league on their own stadium pitch. The last few weeks they've been playing at the training ground. Here you see why. I think Paul has a very big task, a big project, and a busy time ahead. But well, I think it's in capable hands. So good luck to Paul as well over there. And then we move to the last, but not least, as Dougie Robertson from West Ham United says, great things come in small packages. He took delivery of the first ever BU10, a small rig that can be used in goal mouths, high wear areas, very small and handy. And well, that's a nice start, and there's many more to follow in clubs around the world. Okay, great. That was the social media update. Then I would like to give the floor to Mr. Xavi Tordera. Xavi?
Yeah.
In your areas, south of Europe, south of America, you have a lot to do with heat and turfgrass stress. And as you know, as everyone's probably well aware, SGL has the TC50 that can help with that. So Xavi, if you can give us some background and highlights on the TC50, that would be great.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I will just try to give you some big shots about the TC50 technology and its benefits. TC50, let's say it's a two-in-one. It's a fan and a cooling system at the same time with a 50 meters length reach. Most of the clubs use 6 units to treat the whole pitch with 30 nozzles that can throw nebulized water. And the benefits is we increase the airflow and the air circulation, and we also accelerate the process of drying out the plant. We also cool down the surface temperature. The first two ones will help us mainly to reduce the speed of spread of fungi disease. For those who live in countries such as Spain, where we normally go to the forest to pick up mushrooms, we all know that when we have a couple of windy days, there's no need to go anymore to the forest because all the fungi will have disappeared. So what we're trying to replicate with the air circulation, air movement, is this windy conditions that will stop the fungus to spread on high speed on our pitch. And really important for countries, stadiums in summertime, when we use C3 plants to cool down the pitch, lower the temperature. Because if we have let's say a Lolium perenne, I think today in Portugal they are around 40 degrees. Somehow that's really hard for a perennial, right? If we can lower down that temperature to 6 to 8 degrees Celsius, that will make life for the Lolium more comfortable. Due to the COVID-19, the TC50 is also used now to make training sessions more comfortable for the players. That's the truth, to refresh the players.
You mean because they are now still training while there's hot weather, or?
Yeah, they train on hot conditions in summertime, so they just put the TC50s on, spreading nebulized water, and that makes them feel more comfortable, more fresh during the training sessions, for example.
Okay.
So how does it work? What's behind the TC50? We call it the adiabatic cooling. This is nothing else that what in the 19th century Mr. Molière discovered. That's his knowledge. And what we're trying to do is to get involved in the process of in which air is cooled as water is evaporated. So let's say that each liter of water which is evaporated generates a cooling effect of 0.68 kilowatts. And this is a very positive side effect of humidification and can be used as a cooling system. The limitation we have here is the saturation point of the air, because after that, any further water we add into the air will not evaporate, but will manifest as condensation, and that will become in drops of water that will fall on the leaves of our plants. And that's exactly what we do not want to happen in summertime.
Yeah, because that's, Xavi, that's the question we often get when we talk about the TC50, because obviously people tend to think if I have hot conditions and I start adding water to my pitch, spraying water on my pitch, it's not in favor of, or it is in favor of fungi, and that's not what we want. But the key is to have it evaporating at the right time, right?
Yeah. First of all, we are using a very special nozzles which throw nebulized water, which keep flying, let's say, into the air. And we need to take into account the relative humidity, the temperature, because the more temperature we have, the more water that air can keep. And together with that, then we can throw it. But in this scenario, the water will never drop to the leaves. We don't need to reach the saturation point. If that doesn't happen, we will never get the leaves wet. That's the point, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
So just talking also a bit more about the TC50s, what we do is also, some of us, we put the TC50s on the same angle. I don't know whether you see my fingers now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we move it one on a higher angle than the other, what we also can do is break what is called the thermoclimates. That's the different layers of air with different temperatures. So if we are able to break those thermoclimates, we can mix the air, and that also produces a kind of a cooling effect on our pitch. When to use it? That's related to what you were telling, Frank. Can I use it all the time? Can I put water all the time? The same way we do make a disease focus model, we do make with our agronomist team a TC50 usage model. And you see here on the screen the Allianz Stadium. In some periods of the day, from 1 a.m. in the morning, there are several areas where we can just put some air. Why? Because relative humidity might be too high, so we cannot add water in it, but we want air circulation to stop the possibility of high-speed spreading for the fungus. When we are coming to the middle of the day, the more capacity that the air has to receive water, so we can put nebulized water into the air. So to do this, we take into account, as I said before, the difference between the current temperature we have in the stadium and the dew point. And as I said before, air with higher temperature will be able to contain more water for the same relative humidity. So, and now, just last but not the least, just want to show you a few examples of not the champion, but the second one in the Spanish league. Let's say it this way.
Well, they were the champions 2 days ago, Xavi. So
yeah. But it counts the last minute.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true.
So these were tests we did together with our senior agronomist and thinking head Heather van Klooster at Barcelona. So you can see in red the air temperature, 10 meters far away from the TC50, 20, 30, 40, 50. And after this, I think it was an hour working with the TC50, we achieved the blue figures you see below. So from 26.1, we moved to 17.3. So on average, we can say that the TC50 helps you to reduce the temperature between 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. That's it.
Yeah, and that's, I think in many stadiums, in many situations, being able to go from 26 degrees to 18 degrees, especially for ryegrasses, makes a big difference, right?
Absolutely massive one, and especially in those countries. Maybe we can ask Alfonso later on, but
Yeah.
when you got around 40 degrees and you have a perennial rye, you struggle a lot. So a reduction of 6 degrees will help the plant go through the summer in a much better conditions and start the season properly.
What's the temperature you get at the most, Gary, inside the stadium on a summer's day?
To be honest, it's because it's so enclosed. Say it's 30 degrees outside, it'll be a good 3 or 4 degrees hotter in the stadium.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so far so good. That's it from my side. Frank?
Thank you, Xavi. That was very interesting. We'll touch on this a little bit later with Afonso and Gary, their user experience, but it's nice to have some background. So then we now first move on with a little this or that with Mr. Gary Lee. Gary, you're first. It's very simple. You've probably seen it before, this or that. You have to choose, and you cannot give any details or explanations or ifs and buts or I like both. No, we don't do that. You have to choose, Gary. So some will be very easy. Some might be a bit tricky. I'm sorry, I didn't think of the questions. Obviously, that was Tom doing that. So it's if he offends you, that's,
I'm worried now.
That's
very worried.
So okay, then if you're ready, Gary.
Yeah, crack on.
And remember, Gary, honesty is the key. Yes. Here we go. Good. Tea or coffee, Gary?
100% tea.
Good. Data or gut feeling?
Oh, gut feeling.
Oh, interesting. KFC or Five Guys?
KFC.
LED or HPS?
HPS.
Oh, nice. Interesting. New stadium or old stadium?
Oh, that's awful. Oh.
I didn't think of this one. This was Tom. So
I'm going to say old stadium because I saw my first game there.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope your bosses are not watching. Champions League or Premier League?
Champions League.
Good. Snow or Heatwave?
Oh, Heatwave.
We'll get to that later. Heatwave. What's a heatwave in London? +20?
Yeah, it's about 15, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's a nice winter's day for Afonso. Good. Thank you very much, Gary. Then that's very interesting. We'll get to that later, especially the LED and HPS thing might be interesting for a later session when we discuss LED. Obviously, you've got LED in your car park when the football pitch is out. So we'll be.
Yeah, I mean, it's horses for courses, isn't it? In that environment, you need LED because of the heat. But...
Yeah, of course. But we will address that in another session later on. I think. The 5th session in September, but now we move on with turfgrass stress and working with the TC50. Tom.
We'll start with you, Gary. We'll just touch on a couple of things. So you're in a bit of a different scenario to at least most UK guys in the fact that you bring in a turf pitch at the start of the year. So along with the TC50s, how was that helped? Last year was obviously the first turf year and coming up in a week's time. How do you make benefit of those? And is it a big help from that turf coming up, rolled up in a lorry into sweaty conditions?
Yeah, obviously it's just been cut out of the field, chucked in a lorry and driven to London. So it's not very happy when it arrives. So and last year when we turfed, it was like a massively hot week anyway. So being able to like cool the stadium down and just get air across it and knock back that disease pressure was great for us.
Also, I think you're okay. Also, you have 3 TC50s?
Yes, 3.
So you cannot treat the whole pitch. Where do you use them? And you use them in summertime and wintertime on the same place, or how do you manage them?
Well, we have more problems in this time of the year in the north area because the temperature is other then. But in the winter, we use it on the south area because we want to reduce the humidity of that area. That is the area that is most affected on the winter with the water accumulation. And in the summer, we try to put it on the north area just to reduce the temperature for about 5 to 6 degrees, more or less.
When you're talking about to reduce the humidity on the grass, from your experience...
Xavi, sorry, can I interrupt you? Just for everyone to know who's attending, we've got quite a few people attending today from all over the world. If you have any questions to Afonso, Gary, maybe to Tom or Xavi, not to me because I don't know anything, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. You can use the chat for that, which you can see in your screen, or the Q&A. So we can do if you do the Q&A, we can answer your question live or later on, but you can use the Q&A and the chat to ask your questions. Sorry, Xavi, go on.
Oh, that was fine. I was asking you, Afonso, when you try to reduce the humidity or take the dew from the leaves, how long does it take, more or less, to take it out? We know that it depends on every day, so the relative humidity you have, but just to give a roughly idea.
Normally, Xavi, use the TC50s 24 hours because when it rains normally not that much, but we try to get low levels of water because in the south area we have a lot of shade, so we are using the HPS unit also to promote the healthy grass. So we want to remove the water also, just to get healthy grass.
Okay, perfect.
You use it as well then, just only as the fan, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's clear to everyone. You can use it as a fan, and you can use it with, in additional, the mist for the cooling.
I think there's a swap over period certainly for Gary and the guys using them in the UK because we haven't got high temperatures of Afonso throughout the winter. So at what kind of point, Gary, do you go from using a TC, and obviously in the mornings it's maybe not the TC element, it's the TF of knocking the dew off, but what kind of time of the year do you hit that point where the cooling becomes not so needed and it then becomes a turf fan, the ability to do that?
It depends on the temperature and the weather. Like as soon as we start getting dews and stuff, then we'll pretty much run them all night until it starts getting sort of below freezing. Then we do tend to run them during the day and then turn them off for the night, just because we find it can scorch a little bit on the edges if you hit it when it's got frost on it.
And you've got 6 TC fans, and it's always a bit of a strange thing of how many exactly do we need, how much, where does it throw to, etc. And it tends to be in a newer bowl environment stadium, you get less of an airflow because you've got enclosed corners. But maybe actually it becomes slightly easier when you've got that bowl kind of stadium to get air shifting in there. So is it always that you use 6, or is sometimes 4 sufficient to get the airflow?
To be honest, we generally put all 6 out, and so we'll have them we'll have 2 in the south, 2 halfway, 2 in the north. And then, to be honest, it's generally where the lights aren't is where we put the fans on. So if we've got 2 lights in the south end, then we'll just run the middle of the north, and vice versa. But I think you could cover it with 4, but obviously 6 is a luxury, and 6 was very handy when we had the NFL, and we were trying to dry paint as well. So.
Oh, really? Yeah, we've seen that before, that they're used for drying paint. That's interesting that you mentioned that about 4 and 6. That's obviously a discussion we've had before. I think we even have customers with 8, right, Xavi, or not?
Yeah, Barcelona has got 8.
Obviously, that when it comes to air circulation, that might not be a big difference between 4 or 6 or 8, as long as you can get anywhere and they have a reach of a good 50 meters. But when it comes to cooling, Xavi, more capacity means also better cooling, or how do you see that, Afonso?
Yes, I have, and Xavi knows, a problem because we only have 3. We start with only 1 just to test, and we are satisfied with the results, and then we bought more 3. But yeah, we don't have the same resources as some clubs in Europe, so we try our best with 3, and so far we are very satisfied with that. We are trying to have 6, but we need to be champions to have that. So
Yeah, it's not difficult. Just give Xavi a call, right?
yeah.
I'll do my best.
Yeah.
No, I think from our calculations from the agronomy department again, we all the time we recommend 6. There's also a special environment, for example, Camp Nou, which is under the road level, so there's a total lack of air circulation. So they decided, the club, to go for 8 instead of 6. But I would say that with 6, our calculation says that's good enough to reduce and get this reduction of 6 to 8 degrees. We cannot put more water, because if we put more water, then we will reach the saturation point of the air, and then we will have the condensation and the water dropping to the leaves. So that's all tested, proved, and that's what we recommend.
Yeah,
I'm happy to sell 25 in a stadium, but
but I also believe, and that's maybe Gary. You obviously, well, your stadium is fairly large, so you have quite a stable, well, lack of airflow everywhere, I believe. There are stadiums which are a bit more open, where they say, well, I only have one corner where I have a problem with my airflow or air circulation. Would you say then one is enough for that certain area?
I would. That's for me or for Gary?
Whatever you want.
Gary, if you want to,
you fight for it.
You crack on, Xavi.
No, I would say, and that happens. That has happened to many of our customers, like Sporting Clube Portugal. That in every single stadium, there's a specific point where all diseases start. Every groundsman knows that. So some of the clubs decide, I'm not sure about the TC50 results, and they just buy one.
And I think we've seen that certainly with down at Bristol City, who had one recently, has got a stadium with 2 open corners and one end which is enclosed. So in theory, there two or one would be enough, purely to keep that problem area dry and solved. Like you say, Xavi, there's a place on everyone's pitch where disease starts and where dew always sets first. So and also the impacts, starting with one like Afonso, you see what one can do and what quickly 2 and 3 and can also have an increased effect.
So the benefits of it, then if they can try to reach 3, and if they can 6 and have the full pitch protected. That's it.
Yeah, totally. But let me just say one thing. The TC50 won't solve all your problems. Okay?
No, of course
you need to be accurate and to manage it properly. Otherwise, you just bought the TC50 to solve a problem, and then you will get more to empty.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
That's why it's very important to always be on the pitch. Technology with the ground staff, it's very important for your success. TC50, it's a major improvement in the area and will help a lot, totally. But you cannot rely everything on the
No, it's not a miracle tool. You have to, like Xavi also showed, really manage it.
So regarding, in connection to this, do you guys also follow or take into account the disease forecast model on when to use the TC50s?
We watch the disease forecast for our UVC anyway, so generally we've got a good idea, but it's more based around the weather forecast really, and whether we're getting heavy dews and stuff like that. So it's a bit of both really from our point of view.
And have you found, obviously coming in the morning and having to dew off, if your TCs, and I know you and Wayne have set them on timers to come on at certain points in the morning and knock that dew off, if you come in the morning and that dew's removed, you're one step ahead. How is that? Have you seen a drop off in maybe start of disease coming in the morning and the pitch has been dry, rather than coming in and it's sopping wet, or at least being further ahead, a couple of hours ahead of your day?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they do work really well, and in conjunction, like, as I said earlier, in conjunction with the lights obviously dry out the surface as well. So, yeah, we'll still do it if it's needed, but I'd say it has reduced the need to do that quite a lot.
Gary, you've been using them since you were in the new stadium, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You don't really have a difference between before and after in the new stadium.
Not really, no.
No, and when you look at diseases and disease pressure compared to the old stadium, do you see a big difference or completely different environment, of course? But White Hart Lane was also quite
enclosed and tight
and low in air circulation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's hard to compare the two because we obviously have a much better setup here. With the heating, with the FAV, with the integrated light system. So it's hard to compare. I mean, White Hart Lane was tough because it was so tight, and the South End never saw sunshine. For 365 days a year. So it's hard to compare on that thing. But I think we're coping with it better here with the extra technology that we have.
Yeah. We got a question coming in, Afonso. That might be a nice one for you because you just mentioned that it's key to manage it properly. Someone from the audience asking, what's the largest way the TC50 is mismanaged? So what's the worst thing you could do in your eyes?
So, the worst thing you can do, in my experience, is the humidity levels. Yeah. The dry out. If you have the TC50 too much close to the pitch and direction to the pitch, probably you will get a dry out if you don't pay attention to the water management. Yeah. But if you are using the nozzles and you just rely on, okay, I will put it on work for 10 hours or 24, you will get problems, disease problems. Because, as Xavi told, you will get high humidity levels, saturation levels, and mainly in Portugal, Spain, Italy, and France, you will get disease because of the temperature. Yeah. Our temperature, normal temperature in summer days, it's perfect to have diseases such pericularity. And once you get more humidity and reach saturation levels, you will get that totally.
Yeah. So it really, again, needs careful management and just not throwing it on and turning it on and let it do magic. It really needs careful management. How do you measure the humidity?
We have the SGL analyzer properly. We are trying to get not more accurate, but a major number of humidity sensors on the pitch. But we need money, so that's mainly our problem.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's problem.
And I think touch on that is key. I remember with Gary, we done probably 2 years ago this summer now, almost to the week, I think. When we first done the trials at the training ground of seeing what we could drop the humidity wise or seeing what we could drop temperatures in conjunction with analyzers, similar to what Xavi and Octavio done at Barcelona with analyzers placed at different meters out. And like Afonso said, it's a great tool, but it can be misused quite quickly and can come backwards. So guys that are using them in conjunction with the analyzers and constantly checking humidity and leaf wetness, if it starts to go backwards and your leaf wetness increases, then it's not the time to be
I didn't mention it in the presentation, but the TC50 also has the timer where we can program, for example, 1 minute the pump on. So we throw water 1 minute, we keep 2 minutes without just air circulation. We start again with throwing, though. That helps not to make mistakes that easily, okay? But also the reduction of the temperature takes more time. But there's a possibility to do that.
So I think summarizing, we can say that it's a great tool, can be a great tool if managed properly. One other thing, Gary, and that probably applies to you as well, Afonso, but Gary, I know you have lots of tours in your brand new stadium normally, in normal situations. And I've quite often heard comments from customers or potential customers looking into the TC50 saying, yes, it's nice, but it's very noisy. Now, obviously, when you move air, it always makes noise. If you stand next to a highway, I don't often do that, but if you would, then it's not the cars itself or the engines you hear. It's more the noise of the wind that gets moved by the cars. So moving wind is noisy, but how do you experience that when working in the stadium with tours, etc.?
To be honest, I mean, the tour guides are great with us. They're because that was something we were genuinely concerned about, but it's something we've not had to worry about too much. If we're there and we see a tour come out, we might turn the middle ones off. But in terms of the actual like sound in the bowl, it's not like a constant like drumming or anything like that. But one of the tour guides has said to me on a few occasions, like the people on the tours actually quite like it because it's part of, it's the daily management of the stadium. So it gives them an insight. If we turned them all off, then they'd be saying, well, what's that there for? Well, actually, if you can see them working, then it gives an extra insight into all of that.
Yeah.
I think as an option, obviously, on it becomes with the Dimmel fans to go from 100% to 0%, because sometimes it's not always needed that the fan needs to be going at 100% full steam ahead. It's possible that you may want that slightly lower rippling effect, or one fan on 100% and another on 50 to, like Javi was saying, break up those air layers.
In our stadium, we have some problems with the tours because one of the TC50 stays in the tunnel where the players enter to the pitch, and the tour tries to get into the pitch by that tunnel. So we need to ask to the tour responsible just to make another path, just not to be in contact with TC50. Despite the noise, of course we will have noise, but for us it's a very, very sensitive problem, the turf. So yeah, with high temperatures, we don't care if someone will complain because turf is first. Without turf, you don't have a game. So
and I think just close by the TC50 is around 75 or 70 something decibels. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. There's a question coming from Pedro asking, why don't you do it in real time? I think he means, why don't we demonstrate it in real time? That's something we haven't prepared today, but that might be a good thing to take into account if we do a pitch visit in one of the next sessions, that we can maybe demonstrate a TC50, because that's...
I think just before we move on, I think there was another question popped up from somewhere, and we probably should touch on. Gary, when the pitch goes away into the car park, you're obviously in a totally different environment. We touched on it earlier on with going from HBS to LED lights. There's also, it's obviously not TC50, but a modified version of air movers. It's also key when it goes into basically a closed chamber. So you've got the possibility of doing that inside as well.
Yeah, so basically when it's inside, we can, we've essentially got we've split it into 8 sections, which we get the temperature, the humidity, and we can either have like the average over the whole thing, or if we find one area is lower than the other, we can actually divide it and operate the system differently. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, to keep the disease pressure down in there, we're constantly pushing air across the surface, but we don't angle the air down onto the surface. We angle it up. So we're essentially just moving the air in the car park. And, Xavi probably knows better than me, but in our mind, even the air underneath will naturally move as well, and keep it moving across the grass to obviously get rid of any dew or humidity. And then we have got dehumidifiers in there anyway. Massive, great silicone wheels is unbelievable when you see it. But so we try to get the humidity down to like, I think it's generally at about 70, but then obviously you bring that massive root zone in that's wet and all that, so it will go up. So generally we try and then push it down to sort of 45, 50.
Good. Before we move on, Pedro has clarified his question. It wasn't necessarily about doing a live demo, but more why don't we use live information? So use sensors or devices to connect to the TC50 or build in the TC50 to have that data. That's something which is not in this version yet, but for future versions, it is something that we are looking into, to have it connect it to the monitoring system, the analyzer, or other data, so that we can manage it also automatically with that data. But that's something we're looking into for future R&D projects. So
I think, like Afonso said as well, like, you know, the data can give you so much, but, you know, the data can't tell you if an area is scorching out or like that.
That's exactly, you will always need your eyes on there, and yeah. And like you said in your this or that, you go by gut feeling, Gary. So
Absolutely.
Green fingers are always green fingers.
are you putting the middle finger up to me, Xavi? Or oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, good, guys. Talking about this or that, it's time for you, Afonso, to do this or that. You've seen Gary; he got some tough questions. Are you ready for some tough questions?
Bring it on.
Good. I don't think they will be that difficult as with Gary.
It was Xavi that built the questions, right?
Yes. So blame Xavi if it goes wrong. Yeah. Here we go. Don't blame me. Afonso, codfish or hamburger?
Codfish, Portuguese.
We start easy. Stadium or training ground?
Ooh, difficult one. Stadium. It's my baby, so.
Spiders or snakes?
Snake.
And that was an easy one for you. -10. I don't know if you ever had that, or +20.
+20. I don't have -10.
No. Chairman for a week or player for a week, Afonso?
Player for a week.
Player for a week. Good. We don't ask you which team. We keep it easy. Grey leaf spots or Rhizoctonia?
Rhizoctonia, of course. Grey leaf spots, it's much difficult.
Okay. Good. And then we move on again. Thank you very much. I think that was quite easy. So your questions were a bit easier than the ones for Gary.
Yeah.
Try harder next time, Xavi.
Yeah. You need to put it harder. Next time, put it harder.
That's down
Tom,
to
you threw me massively under the bus there.
Yeah.
Oh, I take care about my customers.
Oh yeah.
That's why I take Xavi to eat francesinhas.
Yeah. If everyone goes to Portugal, you should try a francesinha. Top.
It's a typical dish from Porto, and I just take Xavi to eat it.
Yeah. That's good. Okay.
I love it.
We know that, Xavi. We know that. Okay, guys. Thanks for that. We've discussed TC50, the background, how you use it, how you experience it. We also want to touch a little bit on turfgrass stress management, because like you said, Afonso, there's more than just the TC50. There's more ways of doing it. So that would be interesting to know. But also, how are you dealing with the extended season? Because it's now mid-July. And normally you won't have any games. I think, Gary, you've got one game left, right?
Yeah, we've got Leicester on Sunday and then we're done.
Then you're done. Afonso, you also have a few small games left, I think?
Yes, very small games.
Champions League? No one watching?
Yeah, we have still one league game.
Yeah.
And then 3 games from Champions League.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's not the best period of time to have it, but for sure it's quite a challenge. And for us and for our team, it's one thing that happens one time in a lifetime. So
yeah, let's hope so.
We need to grab it and prove that we can do it.
Yeah. And but so sorry, Tom, go on.
For you, Gary, this is obviously, like Frank said, unprecedented playing at this time. Normally, your new pitch would probably be in by now. So going forwards, how have you guys been affected? There's been I know a few cases of brown patch popping up in Manchester and London and things like that. How's it been disease-wise? Not used to playing in this time. So like I say, we're normally done by the back end of May, and if any of those diseases are coming, it's in a growing period, and maybe when it's not aesthetically on TV and things like that. So, has it hit you yet, or have you?
To be honest, no. We've been really lucky. We haven't sprayed a fungicide or anything like that during the whole of lockdown. The only thing we did struggle with at the start of lockdown was the heat. Obviously, our pitch is quite a shallow root zone, and it's sitting in metal trays, so you do get random dry patches and stuff like that. But again, that's easily sorted out with wetting agents and stuff like that. But yeah, to be honest, when the lockdown first happened, obviously we didn't know what was happening. We really wound everything down, so we were just putting the basics on in terms of nutrition. So we're doing controlled release fertilizers overlaid with a few liquids and primo as well, obviously. But yeah, to be honest, we haven't been affected disease-wise. At the training ground, we had a few issues with nematodes, but I think most people who have renovated have been struggling with that. So, but yeah, no, we've been really lucky, to be honest.
Afonso,
Yes.
I think you're struggling a bit more than Gary.
Yeah, we are always suffering this time of the year. So yeah, but despite that, this year it's been quite good. Yeah, we don't have as much as headaches as the last one. So yeah, we just trying to control a little bit better the watering into the pitch. We are only doing watering in the morning because yeah, we just don't care to have the minimal spot of disease, because on the other years the small spots have turned into bigger spots. And when we first have spiricularia, the first year was not that special, but in the second one the area is major. The third one was totally awful. I remember that we had games with low quality pitch, and we recovered it, and by now, just fingers crossed, I hope that doesn't appear this season. But with the COVID and the uncertainty of when the league starts again and what we have in the pitch, we didn't have time to take renovation. And with champions, we need to change our approach to renovation program. But I think that we'll present the best pitch that we can for sure for Champions League.
Excellent.
Does the team still train?
Sorry?
Does your team still train on the stadium?
No. He has some training sessions, but now, yeah, we don't have training sessions on the stadium. We are having a game on Tuesday. The pitch is properly set up for that, and then we will have, I think that's for 13, 21, for about 3 weeks to recover it for Champions League.
And in terms of, we touched on it earlier on with you returfing, Gary, what kind of turf grass stress-wise, or is it fusarium normally when it's been rolled up in the lorry for a few hours and coming in? In terms of turfing, like not many of us in the UK are used to it, or for the past 10, 15 years since hybrids come in, but what extra problems does that maybe give you compared to going in a pitch at the old White Hart Lane or something?
Yeah, to be honest, it's generally fusarium. I mean, we spray it the week before we harvest it anyway, and then we pretty much spray it again as soon as it comes in. So we try and we do that with fungicides and with non-fungicidal treatments. So we try and mitigate it before it even becomes a problem, if you see what I mean. You know, and then it is just the big thing is just to stop it drying out, because obviously you've got, you know, thousands of joins and stuff like that. So that's the biggest fight we have generally straight after it's been laid.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. It's nice to see how you both have such different environments and situations to deal with, both doing it your own way and at the same time using similar approaches in many ways as well. So that's very interesting. Thank you for that. Good luck, Gary, on your game this Sunday, and Afonso, good luck with your games coming up. I'm sure you will do a great job, but the whole world will see it. We now quickly move on to a pitch where we also have problems with turf grass stress management, where they also have hot summers. So we start with our pitch visit now. And this is always an exciting part because it's live. It's really live, and we are now connecting live to a stadium of one of our customers somewhere in Europe. And we see whether the gentleman is still there. We are talking about Mr. Vicente Apuente. And Mr. Vicente is here live at Villarreal at, what's the name of the stadium again, Xavi?
Estadio de la Cerámica.
Ah, nice. Xavi, Vicente, he speaks a bit of English, but not so much. So you will take over now in Spanish and translate a little for us. Hello, Vicente.
Vicente, buenas tardes. No te escuchamos, Vicente. No te escuchamos. ¿Nos escuchas? ¿Tú nos escuchas a nosotros, Vicente? I think we have a sound problem, Frank. That's live, huh?
This is why it's so exciting to go live on a pitch.
The adrenaline is coming up, huh?
Yeah, I don't see it yet, Xavi.
I feel it.
You feel it. Well, Xavi, you know the stadium very well. Vicente has been a customer of SGL for a very long time, and also I think in your time when you were groundsman at FC Barcelona and Espanyol, you were already in contact with Vicente.
Yeah.
So if you can tell us a little bit more, I see a UVC going around in the background.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the UVC. Yeah. Well, you need to take into account Villarreal is just close by, 50 kilometers away from Valencia, which is temperatures of 40, 45 degrees. Vicente was, I would say, maybe the first one. He has a hybrid pitch, but he was the first one to try to make a pitch renovation which 100% Kentucky blue,
yeah.
Which so far when he started, no one in Spain did it before.
Yeah.
And that just was to avoid the huge, massive problems he had against grey leaf spot. So he overseeded the pitch with Kentucky blue, and when the temperatures start dropping out of September, October, depending on the year, then overseeding with perennial rye. And that's the way he solved all the issues. He's using the machine mainly every other day, the UBC machine, in the stadium and in the training facilities. He has reseeded or made a new 2 pitches with Paspalum now. He's always trying to improve and try new things. He had, it looked like a Pythium attack, and he was trying to also treat it with the UVC. I don't know the results yet, but he's also one of the most creative and never stopping groundsman in La Liga. And I think, if not the best, it's been for the last 5 years one of my 3 favorite pitches in La Liga for sure.
Yeah, he's always produced a very high quality, right?
Sorry?
He's always produced a very high quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's a really, I would say, not special one, but very dedicated one, precise one. Constant, impressive, the job he's done.
Yeah, good. Well, it's a shame that we could not hear him, but that's sometimes what you get when you go live onto a pitch. It was rehearsed and then everything worked fine, but that's sometimes what you get.
Technology.
If you as an attendee also would like to be the one on the pitch with sound, showing your pitch and your machinery, show us around your colleagues live, then that would be very good. Gary, we've got a question that came in for you about when we did the this or that. It's a little bit off topic, but I think it's an interesting one. You answered the question HPS or LED, and you said HPS. So the question now is coming from the audience: why would you prefer HPS over LED?
I think for us, obviously we use both, so it's not really, obviously I had to answer the question, so it's not really a fact that I preferred it, but I think HPS works for us in the bowl because additionally in the winter, you get the heat element of it, and it raises the temperature in the stadium bowl slightly. And then obviously LED in the garage because for the complete opposite reason that it's so close and it gives off very little heat. So
you don't want it.
As I said earlier, it is horses for courses, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's why sometimes we give you the chance to explain.
The right of reply.
Not always. You cannot explain about the White Hart Lane.
Yeah. I love this stadium, but it won't change the fact that I saw my first ever Tottenham game in 1995 at White Hart Lane. So.
1995?
A long time ago.
Oh, I didn't know you were that old, Gary.
I know. I'm 34, Frank. I'm slightly older than you.
Oh, dear. Slightly, yeah. Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much.
There's another question. I see there's a question.
Yeah. There's a question coming in. What are your experiences combining geotextile on the pitch with LED or sodium lights? So by geotextile, I think Jorge Palma means the turf covers.
Yeah.
So have you been using the turf covers in combination with LED or sodium lights? I think sodium in this case, because that's where you have your main experience.
Yes, I've got several customers which they use it especially for germination. So because of the extra heat of the HPS units.
Yeah.
But again, I think that if you have an LED with infrared that give you as well extra heat, you can also use, and you will have the same effect as the HPS one.
Yeah. I think, this year I know Leicester City used them for groaning. Most clubs will use the germination sheets, whether it's the evergreen or tilde net sheet, through renovation and growing. But also, I know clubs like Aston Villa are using them if they get a two week break in the window, maybe Christmas time, running through the thorough middle of the pitch and putting HPS lights on top. Yeah. So I think, in case of that case, is increasing the heat in there and also some moisture retention.
I would say LED units without infrared on top of geotextile doesn't make sense at all.
No, you don't. You need the heat, of course. Yeah. Okay. Well, this can be a new topic altogether for one of our next sessions. But let's first finish this session with a little bit of a summary. So, what have we learned today? The TC50 can be used as a fan and as a cooler. Which, we knew already, but you could see the different usages. Humidity is crucial to achieve the right results with cooling, as you guys explained, and Xavi also in his presentation. It's important to manage it to make sure that you get the right results. Gary prefers HPS over LED. Shocking, and he's already explained that.
You might as well just say Gary hates the environment.
No. No, because I think if it's used in the efficient way, then there's nothing wrong with it.
To be honest, I did a whole presentation for the board about how we could make the lighting rigs carbon neutral, and if we sourced our power from a wind farm, basically they would be.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing in sustainability, where you get the power from, indeed. Again, touching on the TC50, it increases the air circulation and speeds up the drying of the plant, as Xavi also explained with the layers of air and mixing it. Very well done, Xavi. And what we've learned from the second small discussion is that turfgrass stress management in this extended season is even more important, because you're stretching everything literally and you're working in conditions that are even harder than normal. That goes especially in Afonso's case, I think, with the high temperatures you had. So that was great to learn. And last but not least, very importantly, we've learned that Afonso prefers to be a player for a week.
And in my defense, I have an appointment on that. It will be nice to know how a player reacts to the grass. Sometimes we are only preoccupied with the grass. Yeah. But sometimes the opinion of the user and how the grass feels on his eyes, on his feet, is very important for us.
So you have a professional reason to be a player for a week. I thought you just wanted his salary, his weekly salary.
Or would you spend the salary on those 3 extra TCs at Fonte?
Yes, well, that would be nice, for sure.
Now you see Xavi happy.
Yes, I'm trying always to put Xavi happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good,
Just
very good.
last question. Maybe I don't like the answer, but which is your favorite player, Afonso?
It's easier. Ronaldo.
Okay, well, we discussed that in some other session as well. Okay, good. Gentlemen, I would like to thank you very much. You've been excellent. Thank you for making the time available. I know it's a big ask because it also requires some preparation, and we know you are busy. Even though it's summer, like we just said already, the season is still in full swing. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your expertise. It was very, very useful. And well, we hope to see you back again, maybe on a live pitch visit with sound. That would be great. So
let us know if you want to join.
Sorry, what did you say, Tom?
Let us know if you want to participate in the pitch visit. The more the merrier.
So anyone who wants to do that pitch visit, that would be great. Show us your pitch, show us your challenges, show us what you're proud of, show us your machinery. That would be great. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tom and Xavi as well. You've been great. Thanks especially everyone for attending. I think we had a good audience again today with lots of questions and interaction. So that's good. The full video of this session will be live soon, within a few days. So that if you want to see it again, you can do that. Or if you haven't been able to watch us live, then you don't hear what I'm saying now, but then you can also watch it live on YouTube. Furthermore, I would like to let you know that we will be doing a fourth SGL Live. SGL Live will be every third Thursday of the month. This time it was on Friday because of circumstances and availability, but the next one will be on a Thursday, again, the 20th of August at 1 p.m. GMT +1, that's UK time or Portuguese time, whatever you want. So we hope to see you again soon in August. Good luck, gentlemen, with your last games, and enjoy your holiday if you have one. And same to all of you. Enjoy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Bye-bye.